Hello YouTubers, I want to welcome you to another edition of Bargain Bin Gear. Okay, now recently, a friend of mine wanted a top-end modeler. We're talking things like a Kemper, Axapex, all kinds of stuff. So, as a result, well, I ended up with a modeling amp. That's actually very popular. So basically, I mean, I bought some of his older gear. You gotta help him out. So I ended up with this Boss Katana Artist Mark II 100 watt combo amp. It may not be the right amp for me. You know, for someone else it may be great. It has some really good tones in it. But in particular, for me, one, I like a stereo sound. Okay, and two, I'm really used to using little tube amps, but I'm also going for just a clean sound. Whereas for the Boss Katana, that's just the very beginning of the sounds that it can produce. It has built-in effects, and so on and so on. So, pretty high-end. And not to be confused with the regular Katana amp. This is the Artist series, right? And I've seen these, you know, used going for $450, $500, somewhere in there. You know, so quite expensive. Now, I will say the Boss Katana does have stereo capabilities. However, guess what? They've made it so that it only works if you buy another Boss Katana amp, which I do not have. So, that, you know, you can't just use a, you know, a line out or something like that for a true stereo sound. So, in a way, that's kind of discouraging. However, this gives me a real good chance to see if I would prefer this over my tube amps. You know, and keep in mind, we're only discussing really the clean sound here. You know, I would in fact think that the Boss Katana does a much better job as far as high gain sounds. I mean, they even have a channel called the Brown channel. In other words, getting the brown sound. I guess made famous by Eddie Van Halen, right? They also have an Extreme channel, which is really high-end gain. And there's no chance that my little tube amps can even come close to that. So that's a plus for the Boss Katana. It's a really nice amp. We can take a look at it here. Alright, now here it is. Boss Katana Artist Mark II. 12-inch speaker, combo amp. And you can see all the controls here. Different channels, built-in effects, so on and so on and so on. Okay. Most controls are on the front, but there's some on the back. Let's take a look at that. Okay. Controls on the back. Plugging in the speakers and so on and so on. Stereo link, effects loop. And let's see if we can, I don't know if you can see that. Waza speaker. Here it is. Wow. Alright, so So without doubt, I mean, it's a really nice amp, you know, and especially for what it does and what it has, you know, all these effects and things. And by the way, mine came with this JAFC controller, and basically it's just a 6-button foot switch, right? Allows you to control it really well. So no complaints there. But is it the right amp for me? And this is what we'll find out here. So let's take a listen to it. And I'm going to be playing just through a very, very simple clean channel, basically. And unfortunately, it's in mono because I don't have another bass katana, you know. However, I'm really pleased that it has that capability of being stereo link. So let's try it out here. Okay, right away, I mean, I can tell that the sound is pretty convincing, but the feel is not that of a tube amp. It is that of a more solid state amp. However, a high quality solid state amp. I've tried some solid state amps, and the little power amp they put in there, solid state, is just ice picky and terrible feel. That's not the case here. It's actually pretty nice. And it doesn't have the sponginess of that of a tube amp. However, it does have a really nice clean sound. Let me get another setting here. On here, we'll try out some different ones. Alright, now I've dialed up another clean sound. You know, okay, and Let me try and dial up another sound. Now keep in mind, this is basically the second time I've even tried this amp, so I'm by no means an expert as far as tweaking the amp for the best sounds, but we'll try a couple different variations. So hold on 1 second, and I'll switch the sound. All right, one thing I can tell you is it's a really can be a loud amp. Though the nice thing is it has all kinds of controls where you can run it at half power and that kind of thing. But on its full power, it can be really, really loud. Plenty to play with a band and so on. All right, let's try another setting here. That's a really nice sound, I think. That's definitely from a solid state amp here. So, yeah, I think that's a really nice sound from a solid state amp. However, for me, 100%, if it wasn't stereo, it'd be really an acceptable sound. In mono, not so much for me anyway. It also has a ton of built-in effects, and there's an editor. All right, we won't get into the editor here, because I just wanted to show you this real quick. But then you can customize the effects to your liking. Okay, and remember, we're only covering basically the clean channel. There's also, varying levels of crunch, overdrive, so on and so on. I think a total of 6 channels with variations. Okay. Let's try one of the variations on the clean channel. Got that delay in there. it's got that tube-like sound. I mean, it's very close. So it's pretty close there. Okay. Well, let's compare that to the Fender Super Champ X2. Okay, so there you go. Tube amp has the feel that the Boss Katana lacks, and that's just a difference from my personal taste between a tube and solid state amp. The other thing is, I think that the tube amp is a little warmer sounding, and I also think that both of them sound a little crappy, not in stereo. I just love playing in stereo, that's it, because I like that kind of ambient sound, you know. However, both have capabilities, you know. I mean, I've got two of the little Fender Super Champ X2s. Here, I'd have to buy another Boss Katana, you know. And so that gets a little pricey, for one thing. However, you know, keep in mind, too, I've been playing the Super Champ X2, and there the reverb was coming through a TC Electronics Plethora X5, which has really great reverbs. I think the Boss Katana, though, comes close, and if you spent time with it, I'm sure you could dial in some awesome sounds. And man, if you ran it in stereo, it would be really, really cool. Listen, I have a PB Stereo Chorus 212. The beast of an amp, you know. I mean, I think it's over 100 watts or something. I don't know. Anyway, it's solid state. And it only does like one sound really nicely, and that's the stereo chorus. Hence its name. The Boss Katana kind of reminds me of that. However, with more capabilities, especially distortion-wise. Now, for me, I don't really use distortion all that much, if ever. Sometimes, I guess. You know, so for me, I'd just be using the clean channel. The other thing is, I think at high volume and high gain, I start to hear a little hiss from the Boss Katana. But you have to understand, though, it's running, can run a huge amount of gain. You know. Whereas here, on the little Super Champ X2, you know, it's pretty silent. But it's not running any gain at all. Well, I shouldn't say that, but it's not running any high gain at all. Distortion, okay? So, in a way, the Boss Katana has a lot going for it, but it's a totally different type of amp. Being solid state, capable of really great distorted sounds. And for clean sounds, kind of very much reminds me of the PV Stereo Chorus 212. I mean, it can do a really great kind of clean sound, but it definitely has a different feel than the little tube amps, you know, and is not quite as warm. However, I'd be really stunned to hear it in stereo. I think it'd be really amazing, you know, but they really made it so that you have to have another Boss Katana pretty much, you know. So, what to do here? Well, I'd be curious to know if I should keep it, sell it, trade it, who knows. And I'll definitely let you know here very soon. And don't get me wrong, it's not a bad amp at all. You know, that's not the thing. It's just a different kind of amp. You know, and for most players, I think they'd be really happy with it. I mean, when I was doing my distortion stuff, you know, back in the day, you know, I would love something like this. It'd be amazing. And the sounds are really good. And talk about versatile. I mean, it can do just about any kind of sound you want, really. You know, but for the specific kind of guitar sound I like, anyway, I can't go wrong with a little tube amp, with the tube feel and the warmth of it. And I think you could come very close on the Boss Katana with a little tweaking, you know. So not a bad amp at all. And when in a future video, I'll update you on whether I decided to keep it, maybe get another Boss Katana to run it in stereo, or sell it and move on and stick with my tube amps. Don't know yet. We will see. Alright, very good. See you next time. Okay, bye.